Hello and welcome to the third part of our video series on solving equations. Today we're solving with variables on both sides of the equation. When solving an equation, you need to combine the variables together first. Before you start to isolate, you need to be focused on one variable. And if you notice here, we kind of have two. We have 3x and 5x. We need to get those two numbers together before we can worry about the 6 and the -4. It honestly doesn't matter what you do. I typically like to move my smaller numbers over towards my larger numbers. When you are combining x's, make sure that you are combining them by adding or subtracting. Since they are on different sides of the equation, you would be doing the opposite operation. So I subtracted 3x from both sides. The -4 is going to stay the same. I have 5x minus 3x, which is 2x. And then I have a positive 6. The -4 and the positive 6 have not changed. From here on out, this problem is exactly the same as it was in the previous video. I will subtract 6 to the other side because I want to isolate the 2x. So this is -10 equals 2x. And then I divide both sides by 2. So x equals -10 divided by 2, which is -5. In example 2, I have a fraction, but don't worry, fractions are a very common thing. We still want to combine the x's together. So this x over 2 and this x have to be combined. Since we are moving across the equal sign, we have to add or subtract. We're doing the opposite operation. So this time I chose to move the x over instead of the x over 2. It honestly doesn't make a difference. You'll get the same answer either way if you do it correctly. I know a lot of us prefer to deal with decimals. So if you think of x over 2 the same as half x or 0.5x, you have 0.5 minus 1, which is just -0.5 or -1/2. And the 8 stayed the same. So then you will subtract 8 to the other side, and you have -0.5x equals 12 minus 8, which is 4. Then the way I have this written, you would divide by -0.5. And 4 divided by -0.5 is -8. Continuing on with this next example, I can move whichever term I want. But again, the goal is to combine the x's together first before anything else happens. So I think I will move the 4x over here with the 6x. Since I am moving across the equal sign, I will subtract because it was positive. Then I will subtract 7. So I have -12 minus 7, which would be -19, equals 2x. Then divide by 2. And then here, we will end up dividing -19 by 2, which is going to be a decimal, which is totally fine. It would be -9.5. This next one is going to bring up a very interesting point. When I subtract 2x from both sides, I get, it cancels from here, and then I have 2x minus 2x. Well, that also cancels. And I have 5 equals 10. 5 does not equal 10. So this means I have empty set or no solution. Which brings us to our blanks at the bottom of the page. If you end up in a situation like what we have up here, 5 equals 10, or like 0 equals 12, or something like that. A situation that isn't true. Then your solution is no solution. If you end up in a situation like maybe 5 equals 5 or 0 equals 0, then your solution is called all real numbers. Because this is always true, no matter what value of x you have. And that's all for this video. Feel free to ask any questions or go back and rewatch any parts of it and work on your assignment.